Welcome to the fun astrology podcast for Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. Thomas Miller here. Thanks for joining us. We're going to take a look today at Saturn and Pluto. I tried to describe this in the audio podcast and it just didn't come off. It was difficult to explain this. So a picture here is definitely worth everything. And you'll notice that this is not today's chart. It says Saturn-Pluto 2020 because this was the great conjunction of our time. If you are breathing air and listening to my voice, obviously you are. What happened on the morning of January 12th pivoted everything. This has only happened 2 other times in the last 1,000 years that Saturn and Pluto have come together, the same degree, same minute, in the sign of Capricorn. That's the big deal. This is Capricorn's territory, Saturn's turf. And within 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the latest after this date, COVID was a new word in our vocabulary, and it would shift everything on the planet. All right? Now keep that in mind because that was January 2020. Now, let's bring the chart forward to today. We'll kind of put them in as much as we can the same position, although Capricorn is now up here. But you'll see, you know what? Yeah, no, that's right. That'll work. That's a whole sign chart. I wanted to make sure I was in whole sign with this. So right here is where that conjunction happened. Pluto has moved over to 28. Saturn moved into Aquarius and is now obviously at 24 degrees. So 28 and 24. This is a semi-sextile aspect. It's the first aspect they've had since January 2020. The first stop on the way. The second stop will be over here at 22 degrees Pisces, which is where these guys are sitting right now. That will be the second stop. And then the third stop will be over here in the later degrees of Aries, and that will be the square. That's going to be a long time off. Even this one's going to be many years away still. But you see how the movement of the separation of Saturn from Pluto, now we're hitting this first stop. So this is what I was looking at. As I was studying the chart, I was just seeing, okay, so this is the first time that they've come back and tried to interact. And at least it's somewhat of a positive aspect. It's a semi-sextile. It's a minor aspect. But at least they are within range of each other again. First time since January. What does that mean? The karmic Blues Brothers. Because look, a conjunction, which happened in 2020, is technically considered a quote-unquote positive aspect. Well, then I got to thinking about, if you look at Saturn, let's take Saturn first of all, is in the same sextile aspect to this whole thing that we've been talking about with Neptune and Jupiter. In Pisces, co-rulers, spirituality on the one hand, mass deception on the other. Again, first time in an aspect. So if Saturn now is going to be in a 30-degree aspect, Pluto is going to be in a 60-degree aspect. And we come on over to here now, and the next player involved would be the north node of the moon. Now let me clean all this off so you can see this one. Saturn is in a square to the north node of the moon. That puts it in a square to the south node of the moon. The south node is in Scorpio. Remember, we were talking about the summer of 1967, the great summer of discontent? Well, that happened almost a year after this aspect. we get it now, and World War III is on the brink. We've got a madman on the loose in the world. So this is a very serious aspect, this Saturn square. That makes Pluto, so if Saturn is at 60, then Pluto is going to be at 120. That's a trine. So Pluto is now trining the North Node. This is a lot of karma in the chart. So we have them hitting each other, then that hitting Neptune and Jupiter, and that hitting the North Node of the Moon, and thus the South Node. See all of that? And that includes all of the outer planets except Uranus. And in about, 10 days, the Sun is going to be right on that North Node. In fact, that would put us in a moon wobble right now. The moon wobble is 3 weeks back. So we're in this as the Sun closes in on this tight conjunction with the North Node of the Moon. It's called a moon wobble. And typically unusual things happen on Earth during that time. Kind of like a Mercury retrograde, maybe a little bit more mundane, if you will. Volcanoes, etc. Things like that. Just this weird earthquake, stuff like that. Okay, so here's what I'm kind of thinking with this chart. And this was what I was trying to summarize on the audio version. Could the sky be giving us this picture of the work that began in January of 2020 has to cross the bridge of consciousness on the planet? We have to decide, are we going to be awake or are we going to be asleep? And the karma that is set in the sky, in the plan, in the cycle of life on Earth, is that cycle going to have to come to reckon with basically karma on Earth? I just think it's an amazing, interesting picture as we look at the finger of God writing this in the sky so clearly, and now dropping these little clues. The consciousness clue, the karmic clue. Wow, it really is truly amazing. Now, how do we work with this? Well, I'm talking about collective energy here. I'm not so much talking about personal energy, although you could apply this by basically studying where these things are in your chart and what might be hit with that, what areas of your life might be involved or implicated, what might be under the beams of these aspects. And then I think what we have to do is realize that we are choosing collectively, by even hearing this podcast, you are in the scope of the positive side of the consciousness piece of this. So our job is to help bring the North Node peace, the Taurus peace. Taurus is peace. See, everything going on over in Europe right now, everything going on in Ukraine is here. That's the dishevel. What's the opposite of that? Peace, serenity, beauty, Taurus. Go dig your feet into the earth and ground yourself and say Om 17 times. That's Taurus. Taurus wants peace. Scorpio is inflicting the conflict, the tension, the fighting, the war, the death. So our job is to align in every possible way consciously with where we're going. We see exactly where we're going. This is what's so beautiful about astrology. We just have to get there. And what we have to do is we have to shift this Piscean. See, Pisces rules the 12th house. So appropriate that I landed this chart right there in zodiacal order, because we have to complete and end the 12th house. Move through the conflict of Aries. Fight the battles. Loosen the grip. And then we get to enjoy the peace and the serenity. We get to take a big, collective, deep breath. That is so what the chart is showing us right now. And I hope you see that. And I hope in a way that it encourages you, because that's exactly what it's intended to do, is to encourage you that however, whatever happens, wherever this goes, that we are all collectively here for a purpose, and we will be okay. This was kind of a special one. We'll be back tomorrow with our regular fare, but I wanted you to see this little handwriting, I think, in the sky, and hope now that it makes more sense. Have a great Tuesday. I'll see you back tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.